topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Good morning, Florida. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where we bring you the top experts in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. I want to begin our show today talking about Ask the Experts. We get so many people contacting us wanting to know how Ask the Experts works. So before our guest comes on today, who is an expert in public insurance adjusting, I'm going to just kind of pull the curtain back, tell you a little bit about Ask the Experts, and maybe, just maybe, it's perfect for your company. I have noticed for the last 10 years, we have always been strictly radio. I call it terrestrial radio, the radio stations in your market. That's how we've always done our show. The problem with doing a show with radio is the show always had to be on the weekends, where the audience is not near as high as it is during the week. A lot of the major companies come in and buy all the airtime from talk radio during the week. And the rates are a lot more expensive. So most of our shows in the past had always been on the weekends. And a lot of times there would be NCAA football or basketball would knock our show off the air. And for the last 2 years, people have been telling me, why aren't you doing podcasts? Why are you still doing radio? People don't listen to radio anymore. They go to podcasts, they go to streaming radio, and they even do go to streaming TV. Well, I'm a little stubborn, a little set in my old ways, and I never thought that podcasts would ever get stronger than radio until one day, Michael Savage probably had the second largest talk radio show in the United States. He was right behind Rush. And he took his show off of 630 radio stations, just took it off the station and went to podcast. And I was shocked. How could he take something so successful and go backwards into podcast? Do you know his audience almost doubled when he went to podcast? I started asking friends of mine if they listen to podcasts, and I was shocked. I would say probably 95% of my friends all listen to podcasts. And then finally, the car dealerships are talking about, with the new electric cars, they have to take the AM radios out because AM radio interferes with the electrical of the car. That's when I made the decision to move over to podcast and radio. But I couldn't just move over. I had to find the biggest and the best, which I did with W4CY.com. Our show audience has gone up so much more. And this is perfect for a mid-size to small business. Our rates are really good. They're really low. People are shocked about how low our rates are. We do all of our shows now during the week. You get a 25-minute show once a month. And a lot of our experts have done so well with the show, they now want to do 2 shows a month. But it's a great way to educate the public. And when you're the educator, that means you're one of the best. And you get the referrals from it. The areas that we deal in are legal, any type of lawyer. We do really well with personal injury attorneys, criminal attorneys, family law attorneys, estate planning attorneys, tax attorneys. We do extremely well in those areas of law. And what's so amazing is our experts, our legal experts, tell me that they are averaging about 2 new clients a month from our show, and they are extremely happy with that, especially if you knew how low the rates are. To give you an idea on our rates start at $750 for 3 shows. Not 1, but for 3 shows. And if you buy 6 shows, the rates are usually around $1,300. So there's a nice discount. And there's even a nicer discount if you pay a year in advance. So if you also are in the health field, anything having to do with pain management, chiropractic care, anything having to do with low back pain does really well with our show. Also, hearing aids and hearing loss, other areas of health, anything having to do with eye care. Stop snoring is a great category for us. Sleep apnea. Anything involved with dental implants does really well for us. And when I say does well for us, I'm actually saying does really well for our clients. This show, if we go into, say, financial, wealth management, financial advising, anything having to do with insurance, especially Medicare, does extremely well with us. I would say 30% of our clients have been with us for at least 7 years. That is amazing. Another area that is really big for us is home improvement, which means air conditioning repair, plumbing repair, electrical repair, public adjuster, which we have on today. These are all great categories. And the show is so easy to do. A lot of people are worried and they'll say, well, I don't have a good voice for radio. But things have changed so much over the years. It's not about how great your voice is anymore. It's about what comes out of your voice. People want to be educated. So it doesn't boil down to having a good or bad voice. The show goes by very fast, so it's 25 minutes long. It goes by extremely fast. That's the first thing new experts tell us. But can you imagine having your own podcast, radio, and then we also add streaming TV to it? You can go to Facebook, you can go to YouTube, and you will see your shows. What's so nice about it is you can take a copy of your show and attach it to your website. That is going to draw people to your website as well as move you up in the search engines. So with our show, you get so much bang for the buck. And that's why we rarely lose anybody. But I wanted to take some time today. If you have a business in Orlando, Tampa, South Florida, Palm Beach, if you have a business there, you definitely want to give us a call at 954-336-3767. We are also in California, Arizona, Pennsylvania, the Atlanta, Georgia area, Texas. We're in Houston. We're in Dallas. We're in Austin. So we have a lot of great cities that you can go to. We're also in Las Vegas, is another city that we are in. But if you have a business, whether it's legal, health, financial, or home improvement, this is a really economical way to market your product. Now, if you wanted to just do your own podcast, it's pretty cheap to do, but you got to remember that you got to promote this. And that's what our company does. They make sure that your show is promoted, and that is so valuable, the way Dean promotes W4CY.com. So I wanted to come on early before our first expert, and I wanted to educate you about Ask the Experts. If you notice, if you're watching us live right now, to the right of the screen, we can even take comments from listeners and viewers. It's a great concept. The most important thing is we can give you a turnkey concept, which is perfect for someone just wanting to get into streaming TV, radio, and podcast. My name is Steve O. You can give us a call at 954-336-3767. We've also got it up on the screen. You might have a business that I didn't mention. There's so many businesses out there, and we are constantly getting calls from people who have a business. We got a call from a company who does the medical marijuana, wanting to do a show because they wanted to educate people, and they are very limited. Many radio stations would not take their ads. TV stations would, and they're very, their ads are actually spent a lot of money on their ads. Great ads, very professionally done in good taste, but a lot of radio stations and TV stations would not take their ads. And we are going to start promoting their company, which they've had a very hard time doing. But we don't run ads. What we do is we educate. Our shows are all educational. That's what people like about our shows. It's not an info commercial. We educate you. And oh, by the way, if you would like to secure our services, you like what our experts say, you can give them a call. We always are pushing their phone number, their website. We have the greatest producers. A lot of times our producer, Rebel, will tell me something I never thought about doing. And it's just because she and our producers are very knowledgeable. And you get all that for the one price. Today's show is going to be a public insurance adjuster show. And see, a lot of people don't even know what a public insurance adjuster does. They don't even know that they exist. So what happens is people end up having damage done to their home, the insurance company, who their job is to pay you the least amount possible, and they hand you over a check hoping you're going to accept it. And just to give you an example, we had one where the insurance company wanted to pay $12,000 for damage done by a leak. The public adjuster came in and got $87,000. I mean, what a difference. And so they were definitely worth their weight in gold. Well, the people who hired the adjuster saw them on our show. And that's how they didn't even know what a public adjuster was and how they work for them. So that's just an example of people who will learn on our show. And we bring in top experts for our show. And so today we're going to be talking about public adjusting. We're going to be educating homeowners, business owners, condo owners about what a public adjuster does. A lot of people think of them when it just comes to leaks, but they handle mold and mildew. They handle smoke damage. They handle break-ins. There's a lot of things that they do, but they're on your side, and they make their money based on how much money they get you. So you don't have to write them a check when you sit down with them and hire them. It's a win-win situation for everybody. And that's what makes this show so very popular. I love doing the show. I actually host the show in all of our markets. And like I said, we're now in 10 cities and states. So if you own a business, and it might be a business that we haven't even discussed yet, please give me a call at 954-336-3767. Let me give it to you one more time. 954-336. It's up there on the screen as well. 336-3767. We can talk about your business, the best way to promote it. But this is where most big companies are putting their money in now. They're putting them into podcast. And we just happen to have the best of the best. Our expert, who's going to be coming on in just a few minutes, and we'll get Rebel to rerun our opening when they come on, but it's Labrador Claims Consultants. Labrador Claims Consultants. They're out of Orlando, Florida. They mostly handle the Orlando area. Their phone number is 407-733-9997. That's 407-733-9997. The name of the show again is Ask the Experts. We handle legal, health, financial, and home improvement. But like I said, you might have a business that doesn't come under any of those headings, and give us a call. One of the things that we do that people love is we do everything on this show as exclusive. For example, we're talking about public insurance adjuster. There's only going to be one, and they like that exclusiveness. I understand that we have Albert on the phone right now. Let's run the opening intro, and we'll bring Albert in.
topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, Orlando, Florida. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show. Well, folks, this is hurricane season, the dreaded hurricane season, which Floridians dread. Yes, we have the most incredible weather here, but this time of the year, all the way up through November, is hurricane season. In fact, I've already heard there's something already brewing out there. There's a tropical storm out there. Well, listen, when you have home damage, you're going up against some of the biggest insurance companies and their people, their agents. Their job is to pay you the least amount possible. Well, there's companies out there, they're called public insurance adjusters, that are on your side, that make the playing field a lot level. We found one of the greatest public insurance adjusters in Labrador Claims Consultants. And let me welcome our guest, Albert Labrador. Good morning, Albert.
Good morning, Steve. Thank you for having me.
Oh, man, I got to tell you, after your last show, we got so many letters. And I want to open up the show with this. People are scared, Albert. They're scared about the high prices of their homeowners insurance. They're scared of a lot of these companies pulling out, which I just heard another company just pull out of Florida. What is going on?
You know, Steve, it's just getting crazy. The insurance industry, for some reason, does not want to be in Florida for a variety of reasons. In the past 30 months, 10 insurance companies have gone insolvent. And like you said, more and more companies are not going under, leaving, such as AAA doesn't want to insure anymore. Farmers doesn't want to insure anymore. I heard about State Farm limiting their policies. So more and more and people don't have a choice. What they have is what they have. And I tell a lot of them, they call me and say, Albert, what could I do? And I go, if you have insurance right now, stay with it, because if you gotta leave, it is hard to get a new one.
Well, also, when these companies, Albert, when they pull out of Florida, that gives these other insurance companies what they feel is the right that they can increase their rates.
You know, it's amazing. It used to be that the Department of Financial Services would cap the rates at a certain amount every year, and you couldn't go over that. But there's no rate caps anymore. You know, I've heard of people getting double what they paid last year. They're going from $3,000 to $6,000 a year, and they're losing their minds. And they talk to their agents. They don't have a choice. They have nowhere to go. I mean, either you go to Citizens or you get a lender-placed policy, and that's not a good idea.
Well, you know what we've learned, Albert, and I know you know this, a lot of people do not know what a public insurance adjuster does. They don't know that you're on the consumer side.
Public adjusters, we're licensed in the state of Florida, and basically we represent insureds against the insurance company. We're an advocate. We're not attorneys. We're licensed. We're experienced. And what we do is we handle your claim from beginning to end. We go out there, we look at the damages, and we feel that, first of all, if you have a covered loss, second, if it's worth it to pursue a claim, then at that moment, We'll sign you up. We'll sign a contract, and we'll call in the claim, meet with the adjusters, then we take care of your claim. We make sure that you get properly paid for your claim.
Insurance companies really take advantage of their own clients, hoping that they don't know. I think I told you my story that I had tile that was ruined from a leak, and they only wanted to pay for the tile that was ruined, even though it didn't match the new tile. And they were hoping to get by with that.
You know, there's a lot of people that just don't know what they can get. They feel that they call the insurance company. They think that they're going to be treated fairly. They think that the insurance companies are on their side. And many times they're not. The insurance companies are there to make a profit. And they send an adjuster. He might not know what he's doing, or he might have some directive from the insurance company to pay as little as possible. And if you let them, they will. They're taking a chance, because the majority of the homeowners, they're not going to hire a public adjuster because they don't know. And they're not going to hire an attorney because they don't want to go through the hassles of hiring an attorney. So they give up, and they get whatever they get, and that's it.
And they don't think they have a chance of getting any more. Tell people about your company, Albert.
Okay, we're based in Central Florida. We started in 2004 after Charlie, Francis, and Jeannie. I was working for one of the largest insurance companies in the United States, and we decided to go on our own and help folks with their claims. And it was a long process of educating folks, because even back then, people didn't know what a public adjuster was. Many times they would go, "Is that legal?" Yeah, it's legal. I'm licensed. And we handle claims in Central Florida. We go all the way to Tampa. We go over to Jacksonville. We go to South Florida. And like I said, we handle claims. We make sure that you get properly paid for your claim. Many times, a lot of the claims that we get are reopens, where people get a settlement. They don't know what to do. They know that it's not enough. And we're able to reopen those claims, get the correct amount of money so that the homeowner can go ahead and get the repairs done and move on with their lives.
I think what's so beautiful about what you do, Albert, is tell people how you get paid. In other words, when they sit down, they're not writing you a check when they sit down to retain your services.
Correct. We get paid on a percentage of whatever we collect for the insured. Typically, it's from 10%. The cap in the state of Florida is 20% of whatever we collect for the homeowner. If we don't get anything for the homeowner, they don't owe us any money. So it's a no-brainer.
They're taking all the chances.
Correct. They don't have nothing to lose.
You know, we're sitting here talking about hurricanes, and we're going to really get into hurricanes today. But tell people what other areas you cover besides roofs and leaks.
Well, most of the things that happen in somebody's house is not related to the weather. Most of the claims are related to plumbing leaks. You have a plumbing leak in the kitchen, water heaters, bathrooms, laundry rooms. We handle fires. We handle vandalisms, mold claims, anything that can be covered under the homeowner's policy. We can handle that for the homeowners.
You know, Albert had probably 2 or 3 emails from people wondering what kind of, can you help someone who's got termites, who've done a lot of damage to the house?
Unfortunately, termite is one of those exclusions that is not covered under the homeowner's policy.
They made sure of that, didn't they?
Correct. So if you have a termite agreement with a company, my recommendation is to go after them, because when you sign an agreement and you have somebody service for termites, they typically have an insurance policy covering any damage caused by termites.
We supposedly have a couple tropical depressions out there right now. I'm sure you keep up with that, Albert, and supposed to hit this weekend. Not saying a hurricane, there are tropical depressions, but what should people do to prepare for a tropical depression, rainstorms, or hurricanes?
Well, the first thing to do is to make sure that you're properly prepared, meaning water, batteries. Make sure you have your insurance policy handy in a good place. Make sure you take photos of your property before the storm hits, and of course after the storm. Um, Make sure that you have gasoline in the car. Just make sure that you're safe during the storm. Make sure there's nothing that could potentially fly and damage your home or hurt somebody. And if that storm is coming your way, you don't feel safe, get in your car and go somewhere else until a storm goes by. A lot of people, especially in the Southwest, when Ian was coming, they decided to stay, and that was not a good idea.
Yes. You know, what's so scary, Albert, is, we prepare and we prepare. People who don't live here in Florida don't understand that when we're told there's a hurricane coming, oh my God, the grocery stores, forget about it. I mean, water, forget about it. And then it goes somewhere else. And we become numb to it, where now we don't just jump when we hear there could be a hurricane on the way.
That's funny. I'm not sure if I told you the story when we first moved to Miami in the middle 70s. Hurricane David was coming up to Miami in 1979, and David was coming, and everybody prepared, and everybody boarded the windows, and public was empty. And David took a right turn and went to North Carolina. People were disappointed. They did all this work. So then when Andrew came, people were like, oh, Andrew's not coming. Andrew's not coming. And then at the end, Andrew's coming. And people were not ready for Andrew. And Andrew, as we know, is one of the worst in the history of all hurricanes. So don't get complacent. The best thing to do is to start stocking up now before the storm hits. Go get yourself a couple of cases of water. Make sure you have the battery. Make sure you have everything. So when the rush comes, you don't have to go out there and go crazy like everybody else, because it is a madhouse. I lived in California for a couple of years, and people are not walking around thinking about earthquakes,
Yes.
And I think one of the worst things about a hurricane is the anticipation that it's coming, and it's coming, and it's coming, and does it come? Is it not coming? And to me, that anxiety is one of the worst things about a hurricane.
Oh, absolutely. I'm from Texas, where tornadoes are big. Now, tornadoes, you have very little warning, and we never know where they're going to hit. Whereas with a hurricane, we've got time to make plans. And listen, Albert, when we hear there's a hurricane coming, the grocery stores are insane. So maybe it's good too, because we are in hurricane season now, is even though there's nothing right now, start planning now, or you're not going to want to go to the grocery stores when there's a hurricane on the way.
I agree. Now is the time to have everything ready, have your plan ready with you and your family. Make sure there's a place you can go if you don't want to stay. Every time a hurricane hits, I would say I'm going to go somewhere, and I never do, because it's scary. Even we're in Orlando, and it's coming 70, 80 miles, 90 miles per hour.
Right.
It's scary. And for some reason, hurricanes come at night, in the middle of the night or early in the morning. And it is good. No electricity and no water. It's not a pleasant. So yes, now is the time to stock up on the water. You're going to use it anyways. Get the gasoline tanks, get the batteries, have the candles, have all that, the food that doesn't go bad. Make sure that you have all that in place, because like you said, you don't want to go in that rush at Publix and Walmart and Sam's Club. It is just crazy, like COVID, with people with the toilet paper and the paper towels. You don't want to go through that madhouse again.
We have Mike in Seminole wants to know if your company covers mold and mildew.
Yeah, mold and mildew is covered under your policy, but it has to be caused by something like by an accident. For example, you have a break on a plumbing pipe and it causes water damage, and it caused by mold, and it causes mold. That would be covered by your insurance policy. So yes, we cover mold, but the first thing to do is find out why the cause of the mold, because if it's just occurring naturally, that wouldn't be covered under your insurance policy.
Albert, I keep thinking, because these insurance companies are so wealthy, and I keep thinking that it's scary. They can outlast us. What is the process of actually getting your money once you've come up with a settlement?
Well, once we're in agreement with the insurance company has typically 60 days to pay the claim, and the check is sent out, made out payable to our company, to the insured, and to the mortgage company. So then there's a process of sending that payment to the mortgage company so they can endorse it. And many times dealing with that mortgage company is worse than dealing with an insurance company. So there's a process, and we can help the homeowners from the beginning to the end to make sure that they get the payment from the mortgage company and from the insurance company. But everything, it's a process. It's the insurance companies, they like to hold to that money, and for some reason the mortgage companies like to hold to that money, and at the end the insured is the homeowner is the one that's getting that's getting the benefit, is getting harmed by all these delays.
Isn't it amazing, Albert, how when your monthly payment is due for your homeowner's policy, they want their money right then and there? And look how you're talking. It could be 90 to 120 days before they see their money. We see our money.
And more so, there's still thousands of claims from Nicole and from Ian down in Southwest Florida. They haven't been settled. I have a desk full of claims from Ian that we still haven't settled. That we're still fighting with the insurance company. Some of these insurance companies are worse than others. Some are better. They pay quickly. They like to resolve claims. But some delay until they can't delay anymore. And finally, they make the payment. And then they make that payment. They make it as hard as possible for the homeowner to cash that check. And sometimes they know they have the right mortgage company, and they send it under an old mortgage company. So now you have to reissue that check. I think they do that on purpose.
But you hold the person's hand through the whole process.
Absolutely. We handle all that, all the paperwork, all the phone calls, all the emails. We take care of all that. That's our job.
Now, what about people who are listening right now who have just recently settled a claim and they're not happy with the amount of money they got? Can you do anything for them, Albert?
Unless they sign a release, an agreement to close the claim, we'll be more than happy to look at their paperwork, and we can let them know if they got properly paid or not. If they did, then I tell them you're good, go do the repairs. If you didn't, we can reopen those claims, and we can help them get the money, the additional money that they should have been paid to get the work done.
Thinking as a consumer, and I had some smoke damage. I don't know one thing about smoke damage. I don't know what things are valued at. You do, though. And that's why you get your clients top dollar, because you understand the value and what everything costs.
Absolutely. And if I need to, we can hire experts that can evaluate your contents. They can evaluate your home. Some claims are very complicated, so we have to hire environmental engineers, structural engineers to make sure, because sometimes you can't see behind those walls, and you need an expert to help you. And we have all kinds of experts that we can use to help the homeowner with their claims.
Did I read somewhere where some of these insurance companies now are starting to write exclusions or limits on roof damage?
Absolutely. There's two
Is
companies
that true?
yeah, two companies that and I don't know how they get these endorsements passed through the Office of Insurance Regulation. Two companies came up with an endorsement that unless it is a hurricane or a named storm, it's going to be almost impossible to get a roof claim paid by either a regular windstorm or a hailstorm. They're just making it almost impossible to do that. And not only that, we have other insurance companies that have a scale. So depending on how old your roof is, if you have a 10-year-old roof, they'll deduct 30, 40% of the roof amount and only pay you 60 cents on the dollar, less your deductible. You can't do anything with that. So more and more they get making it harder and harder to pay roofs unless it's from a hurricane. And then you have a high hurricane deductible.
Right. It's so unfair, kind of like life is. It's so unfair that these insurance companies take no risk. And it's also unfair that, well, it is fair that there's companies like yours that can at least make the playing field a little bit more level.
That's what we're here for. We're here to help people with their claims. Like I said, I work for two of the largest insurance companies in the United States, and you see how they don't properly treat their policyholders. They're there to make a profit. They're, like I said, some of these companies all they want is to make commercials, and you see the commercial all the time. That's all that is, commercials and premiums, and they talk about saving you money, but they don't tell you we do a great job of paying your claim, we do a great job of paying you properly, we do a great job of paying you promptly. They don't mention that. All they mention is saving you money. But what happens when you have a claim? And that's the truth. People call me, oh, I'm getting I'm getting a good discount on this insurance company, and I tell them, you do not want to use that insurance company, because if you have a claim, forget about it. So,
Albert, what percent do you think, as you see these homeowner policies all the time, what percent of the public don't really understand their policy?
What percent? Probably 100%.
Oh my gosh. People just don't understand.
These policies are written by attorneys for attorneys. When I worked for State Farm, and they sent me to claim school for 2 weeks to learn the policy left and right. And I always laugh because people tell me, I know my policy. No, you don't. Those policies are in a language that is hard to understand. In one part of the policy, they give you coverage, but in the back end, they take it away, and vice versa. And sometimes you got to read it 3, 4, 5 times to figure out what are they saying. So it's
listen. We've already had 2 people write us this morning during the show wanting to know about termites, and termites usually aren't even written into the contract.
No, termites is one of the exclusion is termites. That is not covered. Termites, settlement, many times sinkholes are not covered. You got to look at your policy, and like I said, more and more they're not covering water damage. I've seen that, especially on older homes, or if they do, they cap the water damage limit to $10,000. So you got to review your policy. And then you call your agent, and many times the agent doesn't even know what he's writing.
That's scary.
That is scary.
I tell you something else that's scary, Albert, is we keep hearing the heat index factor, how hot it feels like out there. Well, guess what? That's also heating the waters up even more in the ocean. And we here in Florida know the warmer the water is, the better chance we have of a strong hurricane. So there's Colorado State University. They always come out with their predictions, and they're saying all signs are showing that this is going to be a huge hurricane season. Have you heard that same thing?
Yes, absolutely. And the water is getting hotter and hotter. And those hurricanes are predicting more hurricanes than they predicted before. And like, you all need one. All you need is one hurricane to come through and cause a lot of damage. It doesn't have to be a 5. Even a category 1 hurricane coming in through is going to cause a lot of damage. So we have to be prepared this year. We have to be prepared because, as you said, it is getting hotter and hotter, and we don't know what's going on. Tampa, they're due for one because seems like a million years since they've been hit.
Yes.
And they're due for one. And the East Coast barely gets hit, but you never know. So we have to be prepared because it can happen this year.
Albert, give everybody your phone number. And folks, I'm going to tell you something. You want to write this number down because God forbid if you get hit with something and you're going to go, why did I not write that down, that expert? Write this number down. Give everybody your phone number, Albert.
Our phone number is 407-733-9997. 407-733-9997. Call us, text us, you can send us an email.
Very important you write this number down. What is your email address, Albert?
It is albert@labradorclaims.com. albert@labradorclaims.com.
Well, Albert will be back with us again next month, and let's just everybody pray and hope that we have a nice, calm summer month. Albert, thank you so much. Labrador insurance, public insurance adjusters, and I think now you have a much better idea. Give Albert a call if you have a claim that you would like him to fight for you. Thank you so much, Albert, and we will be back with you again next week with more Ask the Experts. We've got some incredible experts coming on. Stay dry, be safe. We'll see you again.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.